Hello, dear church family. The world has been in an uproar since the killing of George Floyd on May 25th at the hands of the police. It happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it was a shock to see a man abused and ultimately killed at the hands of people who had vowed to serve and to protect the community. As many of you know, Sarah and I have spent much of our lives living in other cultures, and in particular living in Africa. George Floyd reminds us of many of our dear friends, of brothers and sisters in the faith. And perhaps most keenly, he reminds us of our two Kenyan godsons who we've had the privilege to bring up. Young black men that have such character and grace and that we love so dearly. Our primary work as Christians is to become like Christ, to allow ourselves to be changed by our relationship with Him. In that transformation, we have to let go of everything and allow ourselves to become uncomfortable so that we can see people as Jesus did and as He still does. The question for us today is, how is Jesus looking at our world right now? We're riddled by a pandemic and racism, and interestingly, neither of them are new just to our day and time, yet we find ourselves in a new place. Yet Jesus remains the same, and we count on His guidance and His love. Jesus was well acquainted with racism. He was a Jew in a Roman colony. He spoke powerfully to the leaders of His time, both to the Jews and to the Roman leaders. He understood racism, and He spoke against it. As Canadians, we have no superior moral high ground or a good history either. Yes, we live in a city that meant freedom to those who traveled on the Underground Railway. But sadly, we live in a country that took away the freedom of the indigenous peoples. So our past is certainly not pristine. And in some respects, our hands really are not clean. And our present shows us that being a white Canadian still comes with many privileges compared to our black and indigenous Canadian brothers and sisters. And we know that this isn't right. In talking about the pandemic, many people are maintaining that we will never go back to normal. And in fact, that the normal wasn't really working for us anyway. And I'd agree that we need to go back to something that is better than normal. How do we contribute to this better than new normal? Not just that which is brought by COVID-19, but by an honest, unflinching look at our hearts, minds, and cultures about other people and other races. Where is the racism within us? And how do we combat it? We need to be honest and to look deep into ourselves. We have to acknowledge it, confess it, and as always, to let Jesus lead our hearts, minds, and hands. Matthew 12:30-31 tells us, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind and all your strength. The second commandment is this, to love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater commandment than these." We are called to love as Christ loved. Our love for others, no matter who they are, no matter what their color, no matter what their nationality, must stem from our love from God. If we don't love others, especially those who don't look like us, act like us, even believe like us, then our love for God is incomplete. While we are not physically together, it's hard to have this conversation, but we can individually have this conversation with God. I look forward to this discussion and to shaping our thoughts on race and nationality, to be shaped by our prayers, by grace, by love, and conversation together. And I look forward to our hearts, minds, and souls being transformed as we prepare for the new normal, where people God loves, all people, all nationality, and all races, are truly and fully loved by us, by the church. God bless you.